Bam, we're live. All right, fellas, welcome. We're on like day 33 of this AI prompt challenge, and this one's going to be a good one. We're going to get into what's called like long form AI. So, for those of you that want more detail, you want to really dive in and analyze a lot of concepts, this is the one to get into. So, I'm going to start sharing my screen. We're going to jump right into this. It's the weekend here, and we got a lot going on. Quick for those of you, if you were trying to get onto my other link, I don't understand why, but again, it's just there spinning, doesn't work. I don't know what is going on with the YouTube world. All right, so anyhow, here we are, the 30-day, right? We started with the 30-day AI prompt challenge for remodelers, and what I've done is just been extending it and been doing this bonus because many of you guys reached out, and I appreciate the comments, and I understand how much a lot of you are learning about AI. If you haven't had time, right, to dive into it, so this has been very beneficial. So that's why we're going to keep going forward with it. All right, so I want to get over to here. Let's see. Give me 1 second. So here we are. We're on day 33, right? So we're going to deep dive with long form to get insight using DeepSeek. Now, if you follow anything online, you have people that have positives and negatives about DeepSeek. I would say this: yes, it's a Chinese-based company, and yes, I wouldn't share with it like my bank account information. But what I would say is, if you want to do a deep search where you have a lot of content that you want to put into the system, or you want it to search a lot of content, then DeepSeek can be a good way to do it. At the moment, DeepSeek doesn't charge a bunch of fees for this service. So for some of you that are just trying it out, this is a good one to get to, all right? Because you can kind of get your legs wet with AI and you're not investing a bunch of money, okay? So let's face it, all right? You don't always have time to read things thoroughly, and you don't always have time to dig in and understand concept, right? So you might need summaries sometimes, and you need the insight. And this is where something like DeepSeek could come in. It's truly like a next generation AI tool, and it does specialize in that long form insight and generation. So it can analyze massive chunks of data. So let's look at a couple options where I could see you guys using it. For those of you that get into complex stuff, you might want to upload like local building codes and ordinances, and then you can ask AI a specific question and it will do its research based on the book that you just uploaded to give you an answer. Okay, so you don't have to take time and read like 30-40 pages. Just upload those pages into the AI machine, and then you ask it its question. This is one that I'm always amazed at how many people don't take up this gift here. And this is, so you should record your sales calls, whether they're phone calls. You should even find a way to record in-person calls. I've actually talked about this before, where I hired someone to go on sales appointments with me so that they could analyze my approach, my personality, the things I said, I did. I wanted a coach to watch me when I'm in sales in a homeowner's house and then give me a report. And that person brought back to me a lot of really good feedback. And I made significant changes in my approach and style. So that could be something that you guys can use AI as long as you have a recording, and then you can get a transcript, right? So maybe you do a voice recorder, you then have that transcribed into text, then you can upload the text, and then you can ask the AI machine to analyze that for you. Invaluable, the insight that you would get back to. Now, again, look, this is next level, right? If you're just a guy struggling to make a couple jobs a year, this is overkill. But for those of you that are trying to take this remodeling business to the next level, this is what it takes. This is what's going to separate the men from the boys, as they say. Also, if you have some complex products that you're installing and you want to understand the manufacturer's spec sheet, I would upload it into your AI machine, and then when guys have specific questions, they can just type in the specific question, and boom, they'll get it, as opposed to them having to scan and read and search. right? Again, we're talking about saving massive amount of time over a prolonged period of time. So something to consider. I get it. It's different. And for some of you, that's uncomfortable. But this is where things are going. And I'd rather you be on the front end of the ball, instead of being behind the eight ball, as they say. So also you can do it to do industry search, like understanding trend reports. We'll get into that a little bit more. So again, DeepSeek can help digest large volumes of information in matters of minutes. I do this with certain legal things. So if you're trying to understand some code for your county or local jurisdiction, you would upload it and then ask questions. It's invaluable. All right. So let's just get into it. I'm going to take you over to DeepSeek right now. And here's what I've done. So you can see I use it a bunch. I have a bunch of things over here. So on the left side, these are the last few, right? So I wanted to understand Baltimore County sewage pumping. Let's see, we have a new investor. I use it to help answer questions, feedback, right? Anyway, beach access rights. So, some homeowner has a question about beach access rights on a property. So we were looking into that. All right. So let's get rid of that. Now, what we can do is here is your main menu, right? And so that would be typing in here, test. And I've already typed it in. So the reason I've done that is when you can see here, I've turned on what's called Deep Think and I've turned on search. And when you turn those two features on, it takes time to generate the result. Okay, so I've gone ahead and done this ahead of time. So I want it to act as an expert researcher and be the machine that finds the 2025 national remodeling trends. And then I want them presented, that content to me in a way that I, as an expert educated business owner who excels in understanding the remodeling market, right, it can give me some analysis and then make some suggestions and recommendations, right? You let it know you're currently a remodeler. In this instance, we're doing 3.5 million in annual sales. I wear many hats and I'm looking to grow my support team as I would like to go to 8 million in the next 18 months. So I hit that into the prompt. I hit this arrow here, and boom, it goes, right? So it takes time and it tells you what it's doing. This is very interesting. You get to see inside the mind of the AI machine and you see how it's thinking. Now, why this is invaluable is you should read the way it's thinking, because you can then see flaws, or you can understand that, yes, it is right on track to how it got you the results that it is giving you. You may see something in here, you're like, whoa, this machine started thinking something that I didn't want it to. No, that's not where I wanted to go. So you can go in and make an edit and redirect it. All right. So again, what you're seeing here where it says, let's tackle this user's request, they want me to act as an expert researcher and present the 2025 national remodeling trends. But more than that, they're a business owner doing 3.5 million in annual sales, aiming to scale to 8 million in 18 months. I need to analyze the trends and provide actionable recommendations, right? So first, I'll go through the search results. The user mentioned they're wearing many hats and looking to grow their support team. So the key areas to cover are market trends, strategic growth areas, operational improvements, and team expansion. This is all invaluable, right? And then you can see it keeps breaking down. It's looking at the housing market. It's understanding how the aging of our population, the people that own the most, people that have the money and own homes, they're aging, and how that's going to be a huge driver, because the housing stock in America is also aging as the owners age. And the upgrades, right? It talks about smart home tech, how that's trending. So this is how you can be ahead of the curve. If you're looking for how are you going to support growth in your business next year, it may not be that you keep installing the same product you've been doing the last 10 years. You might be wanting, right, to incorporate some new things. Now, where I'm going with this is I'm not saying you would, let's say you're a kitchen remodeler, you're still going to do kitchen remodels. However, you're going to be on the cutting edge and maybe start understanding the smart home tech and how homeowners can incorporate that into their kitchens. That's going to give you the edge, right? People that want the latest and greatest, they want all the toys, the bells and whistles, they tend to be willing to spend the money. right? And that should be a market you should be looking at tackling. All right. So here you can see that this report found that projects like kitchen remodels are primary suites that have perfect joy scores, right? But steel doors are recovering 100% of cost. So that's something that's fascinating to me is people want steel doors. So if you're going out there and you're trying to sell fiberglass to everybody, just understand there's some homeowners that want steel and it's very popular. So you'll get some interesting insights in here that you may have thought you had your own opinion. I would prefer a fiberglass door, right? Won't rust, but the market's saying it wants steel doors. All right. So you can see there is a huge amount of data that it has gone and researched. So here are the results. And this is the part that I think you should be paying attention to. So here we're getting as best as it can. Now understand one caveat here. This machine, this AI machines, can only give you information that it has access to search. So if it is being updated, say 6 months lag time, then the data that it's giving is 6 months old. So understand that, okay? It may not know everything about what's going on right now today, depending on how the database is structured. Okay, so sometimes the data is a little older, but with that being said, we can see here that they're looking for growth driven by the aging housing stock that we have in America, sustainability mandates, and the shifting homeowner priorities, right? And they're looking for a 4.2% growth. So, I mean, we're talking an industry of $450 billion. So this is no joke to be in the home remodeling and home building industries, all right? So this also talks about some strategic pivots that could help accelerate your growth if you're trying to get from, let's say, 3.5 million to 8 million in 18 months, right? And that's an aggressive jump. It can be done. I'm not saying you got to have a really good foundation to do something, but it's possible. All right, so we're going to break it down now. This is telling me to look at market drivers and demand shifts, right? So 80% of U.S. homes are 20 years old, requiring major systems upgrades, plumbing, electrical, roofing. So the neighborhood that I'm in, where I'm filming this right, this is a ranch style house. It was built in the 80s, and this house falls into that market. It has a roof that needs to be redone. The roof functions, it's just old. This house has an older furnace and AC unit that are about 20 years old. They're on their last legs. They're going to need to be redone. And if I walk around this neighborhood, there are 100 homes just like it. And how many neighborhoods in America are like that right now? So it is true. In my area, we don't have a ton of new construction. We have mainly older homes that were built, I would say 50s, 70s, 80s, and 2000s. So almost all the homes are more than 20 years old. So this also talks about an opportunity targeting some whole home packages, kitchen, bath, structural, with finance options. Look, 54% of people are using home equity loans. If your company is not versed in understanding how to help a homeowner navigate through getting financing or financing their remodel, then half the time you're not even going to be in the decision. If you explain to the homeowner that you only accept a check, that your company doesn't get involved in any financing, they're going to move on from you. And what's interesting is homeowners that rely on financing are often willing to pay more. It's just like a credit card. People are like, just charge it. Right? And then the actual nitpicking sometimes of the dollar amounts starts to go away, because especially when people are using free money, in a sense, if they're using home equity lines of credit, okay? Or think about this. You might offer financing as a solution internally. You have your own financing. So you can suggest to the homeowner, hey, we'll set you up, we'll finance the deal. No payments for 6 months. And then what that lets the homeowner do is wait another 6 months, gain interest, and then they can withdraw money on a home equity line to pay off your loan, and they get 6 more months where they don't have to make any payment. And this could be huge. So again, if you're that guy that thinks that every homeowner has to have all the money up front to pay for a job, or you don't want to work for them, you're missing the boat, man. And that's just old-fashioned thinking. So that's enough about that. I can't help you if you can't get out of your own way. So, all right, let's look at what else. So 14% of renovations are focusing on energy upgrades. You got solar, insulation, smart HVAC. There's in my area, this is definitely true. You have a lot of government incentives right now. I'll give you an example. We have an HVAC company. They're very smart, and one of the ways to help market their sales, this is great what they do. They'll do a service call, and everything could be fine with the homeowner's unit, or it might need this or that, and they make the repair, but they will go ahead and do an audit of what the homeowner would be to upgrade a unit. And one of the incentives is, Mr. and Ms. Smith, your unit is functioning now. We've made the repairs. It's working. It is an older unit. It's not working, at 100% efficiency anymore. It's probably losing 15 to 20% efficiency. And then when you factor in that the new units on the market today are even more efficient than your unit ever would have been, plus the fact that your unit is not as efficient as it should be, there's this huge gap. So we could make huge energy savings for you by you upgrading now. And in our market right now, there's huge tax savings, right? You could get up to like $4,000 off of the cost of replacing your HVAC system if you go with one of the energy efficient options. So think about that. It could be as much as probably a third, maybe even a little bit higher, not quite half, but that a homeowner can save because the government's giving incentives. So again, if you're not thinking outside the box, you could be missing. But I'm gonna tell you right now, when you show a homeowner that you can save them $4,000 and they can purchase something because they're getting energy rebates, that's a huge sales thing. And here's the thing: if you're bidding on an addition and you're the GC and you're handling the plumbing, the electric, the framing, right, the whole thing, and you're handling the new HVAC system that's going in, and you don't share with the homeowner, hey, we can get you a $4,000 energy savings credit by going with us. I mean, that could be the difference sometimes to the homeowner hiring you as opposed to the competition. So again, you find all this out by being an expert salesman and having a good process and understanding what's important to the homeowner. But at the same time, you need to understand all the levers that are available for you to pull when you're presenting remodeling to a homeowner. It's a competitive marketplace. And if you don't mention at all anything about this tax credit, but your competitor does, most likely that homeowner is going to be talking a lot more to the competitor who's willing to give them that $4,000 savings that you didn't even know existed. All right. So again, we have some more information here. There's aging in place. You have 58 million seniors, right, that are going to drive demand for accessibility, retrofits, walk-in showers, ramps. Okay. I mean, I can speak, my parents are getting up in age and they're having trouble. They did move a few years ago to a one-level living, but these are things to keep in mind, right? And this is where you can make money. There's multi-generational living. So putting in ADU units, in-law suites, very important. Maybe converting the basement into an apartment so a home health aide could have a place to kind of hang out while they're helping, whatever. There's a lot of opportunity out there. And you still have remote work and some hybrid situations. Plus, you have a lot of people that are starting to create like side hustles where they need a space to work out of their home. So that's important to consider having that. Also look at some regional hotspots. I have a lot of family personally that I know has relocated into like Florida. So I can see that that's happening. And at the same time, you have people moving and changing all the time. So be aware of where your market is and what's happening. So labor shortages, right? This is a big one, man. If you still are struggling to hire people, you need to get into the Remodeling Academy and the Remodel Rebels program, because that is one of the first things that we can help you tackle with. There should be no reason why you're struggling to find workers. That is for the amateur business owner, right? All these guys saying there's no good workers out there, that just lets me know that they're a terrible business owner and they have no understanding of how to go out and find good workers. And I can tell you right now, you don't do it by just putting an ad in the paper or posting it on your Facebook page. You have to be strategic. You have to go out and know who to talk to, where to go, and find those good workers and then bring them over to your business. All right. So labor shortage will not be your issue if you're smart and know how to run a good business. Let's see. So anyway, this is all part of this report, and this is how you could base your company and start growing, right? So you could look at, boom, kitchen remodels. I mean, projected to grow 9%. Now they're talking also the big growth in luxury kitchens. So if you're not currently doing luxury kitchens, you need to land a luxury kitchen or two this year so that you can add that to your repertoire and your brag book and show photos so that you can start marketing for more luxury kitchens next year. Aging in place upgrades. If you haven't done any of these, if you're not putting in grab bars, you need to go out and land a couple of those jobs as soon as possible. Get the before and after photos, have the homeowners talk about how great it is, give you a good testimonial, put that on your website, and start marketing for this time next year, those types of jobs. Outdoor living spaces, this is huge. There are, if I wanted to start a brand new business today in the remodeling space, I would be very tempted to just focus on the outdoor living spaces and becoming a king at that. We're talking patios, pergolas, right? Built-in kitchens outside. There is a huge demand and market for that as well. And being known as a specialist in that. There's a lot of guys that can do decks. There's a lot of guys that do patios. There's not a lot of guys that can put in like a bar outside, right? Bring in all the plumbing, the electric, and run gas and set up a complete bar setup, and put in that nice fire pit section. Right. When you can start incorporating a lot of these things, you become on a next level. And one thing that's nice about outdoor remodeling is, the less you can be inside a homeowner's house, usually the less friction. We all know that. Energy retrofits are going to be big. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things in the market at 84 billion. So, you got to get into where you fit and what's going to work best for you. So look, this is all again coming from this one AI prompt. DeepSeek just keeps giving you information. So they're talking about this is a strategic plan is to get into some sort of a high margin bundle, right? You can talk to the homeowners about combining their kitchen and bathroom model or energy audit. Or when you're out pitching them, say, were you thinking about doing your bathroom? Well, what about giving them some sort of a package price where we're going to do the kitchen now and we're going to be done that in 6 weeks. We'll take a week off and then we'll come back and we'll run the bathroom remodel for you. I don't know. Like, you have to look at some options and see what's going to work best for you. I'm not saying you do them both at the same time, but you should be looking at selling a package to the homeowner where it's this project, then it's that project. Okay, get 2 for 1, as they say. Look at getting some aging in place certifications, possibly. That could be an angle for you. And maybe expand into ADUs and outdoor living spaces. Again, these are all just things to where you should look at, how am I going to grow my business next year? What is the market telling me is going to be big? And what could I capitalize on? All right. Also, if you're not doing it, you have to look at some sort of a software, like a tech stack, is what they're saying. And that's going to change a lot in this next year. So don't overly burden yourself if you don't have a high-end Builder Trend or Co-Construct set up today. Just understand that you're going to want something in place for next year if you're trying to grow like that. All right. We got some supply chain stuff here, some marketing, right? Understanding how to do paid ads, social proof, TikTok, a referral program. So a lot of you guys live off of referrals, but let me ask you, how many of you set up an actual system or program where you throw parties, like neighborhood celebration parties for project completion, and you're paying for the party so that the homeowner invites their friends, their family, their coworkers, the neighborhood, right, as a way to generate more. So there are things you could be doing with your referral network that many of you are only doing like a third of what you could be doing. Okay, so that's something that if you capitalize on that could really grow. And then this breaks down here's your hiring roadmap, right? So you're going to be looking at getting an operations manager, a couple project leads, maybe a dedicated estimator, maybe a marketing coordinator. Okay, now this is just giving recommendation based off a little bit of the information I put in. Obviously, the more information, the more specific that you can be about your business, the better the input, you will get a much better breakdown. And if you're looking for a growth plan, again, reach out to us and get in our Remodel Rebels program so we can set you up with how to formulate an actual growth plan to where we put out the structure of your business currently. And when we understand where you're at today, then we can custom tailor your growth plan for you, right? Utilizing the skills that you have now. So for some of you, that's getting a project manager. For some of you, that's hurry up and getting an office manager. For other you, it's like, hey, you got to get a salesperson, right? Now, at the end of the day, everyone typically needs the same things, but sometimes it's the order in which you need them that not every person is the same. A lot of it's just based on your skill set, your personality, and what hat you want to wear in your business going next. So, funding growth, leverage HELOCs, yeah, absolutely. You've Again, if you're looking to be a multi-million-dollar a year remodeling company and you just do not understand, you don't offer financing, you don't understand it, do me a favor, reach out to me. I will walk you through. We can do a one-to-one call even, right? I have some financing companies I can get you connected with. They'll do presentation. They'll walk you through and help you understand how to do it. It's not a scam. It's not a joke. There is a reason why the largest remodeling companies in any market are offering financing. It is a tool that helps you sell and helps you scale and grow, and homeowners use it. Again, I'll say this till the day I'm done, is that if you don't understand this, those of you that didn't come from a lot of money, I can understand the aversion, right? It makes you uncomfortable. You're not familiar with it. But people that have money don't like to use their own money. They don't spend their money in a sense, right? They borrow and take other people's money because their money is tied up in investments. So they like to pool, right? So they've just put like $1 million into a commercial project, but they have some equity. They'll pull some equity out to use that money to pay for a project, but they're not using their money. They're not taking their own money out of the bank. That's the worst thing that a person that has money can do. They're going to leverage other people's money, right? Because they know that their business or their earnings, because of whatever their profession is, they can make a payment. So a lot of people are just playing the game. They want to know what the monthly payment is. As long as they can swing the monthly payment, they ain't pulling the money out of the bank to pay for the job. So when you finally understand this and get out of your own way and start offering financing, a whole new world is going to open up for you. Okay. So again, if you're not versed in offering and understanding financing and how that works, it's okay. Reach out to me. Right. Everyone is at their own space and everyone has to learn. But at the end of the day, you don't want that to be your impediment going forward. All right. It gives you a little other advice here. So, final thoughts. Your growth hinges. This is huge. Delegating hats, not wearing more. Systems, right? You need a systemized sale approach. You need an operations system, and you have to dominate whichever one of these niches you decide to go forward with, and let tech help handle a lot of the minutia. So it even tells you here an 8 million target is achievable if you prioritize scalability. So, man, I hope everyone that was helpful for you guys. Let me find, I tell you, working off of one screen can be a bit challenging. Let me get that out of the way, get that out of the way. I'm trying to find my hack our screen. We're going to end the share here. So I realized today's was a little bit longer. And again, I cannot overemphasize how important DeepSeek is and what it can do for you. It is powerful. Again, if you're not familiar with it and you want more help, please reach out to me. All right. And I can get you some more guidance and set you up so that you can utilize DeepSeek and start crushing it on your own. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. And we'll be back tomorrow for more AI prompt amazing information. Take care. Have a good one.